Cool. Well, welcome everyone to this webinar. On this Get to the Point series, we have got Ayana Rengiil, a student athlete that's currently at Alabama A&M on a tennis scholarship. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
So, Ayana, your tennis career is not like others. You know, you've had to travel different countries to pursue your dream and to chase your tennis career. Tell us a little bit about yourself and tell us how you got into tennis.
Sure. So as Emrit said, my name is Ayana Rengiil, and I'm from a small island in the middle of the Pacific called Palau. So I started off playing tennis when I was, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5. My mom was kind of the coach in Palau, so I got to travel with her when she went to regional tennis tournaments, and I kind of found my passion there. Started playing competitively since I was like 7. And then I started playing, the North Pacific Regional Championship. So we kind of got all the Micronesian countries, and we played top of those top players got to play at the Pacific Oceania Junior Championships, where I was lucky enough to be the first 12 and under girls champion in 2010. So that was really exciting for me. And that's kind of what started me, playing in Fiji, going to New Zealand, Australia, New Caledonia. Yeah, that's how I started out.
That's awesome. And when I met you, what year was it? I can't even remember. Might have been like 2016, I think.
That sounds about right.
And I remember I met Darren Wrighton, who was the manager for the ITF Pacific House at the time. And for those that don't know what the ITF Pacific House is, so the International Tennis Federation have got different bases around the world, and the one for the Pacific was based in Lautoka in Fiji. I was there at the time, and Darren, who I was introduced through a mutual friend of mine named Clint Packer, got us connected, and I went and caught up with you guys at the ITF House. I remember I did a small tennis talk. There might have been, I think, maybe like 20 athletes in this house. It was blowing.
Yeah, it was quite a few of us because we had like the 12 and under guys, and then we had like us 18 and under who were playing like ITFs and stuff. Yeah.
Tell people about what the ITF House was like and how it looked like and how you got to tennis each day.
Yeah, sure. So the ITF House, I lived there for 2 years. So basically just imagine this 3-story house, kind of training, and the coaches on the bottom floor, boys on the second, and girls in the kitchen on the 3rd floor. You'd wake up, I don't know, before the sun rose is what I remember. We'd run down to the rugby pitch, probably do, a couple of laps over there, or be downstairs in the weight room, getting some of that work in. And then the kids went to school, but because I was not going to school in Fiji, I was lucky enough to have my high school back home in Palau do like correspondence learning. So I was still going to high school over there in Palau. So the kids went to school. I studied for a couple of hours after we trained in the morning. And then I got an extra session in before lunch. And then I came back, rested a little bit. And then everybody came back in the afternoon for the afternoon session, which was about, 3 hours. And then after that, we'd come home, have dinner, and then it was study time. And we just do the same thing the next day.
It blew me away when I got there, how hard you guys worked. Like, I remember I got there and, Darren was walking me through the house, and you were actually prepping for an SAT. I remember that. Yeah. And you were upstairs in the kitchen, like in that dining area.
Right.
And, Darren and I sort of sat on the balcony off the house looking out, and it was awesome. And I said to Darren, how do these athletes get to and from training every day? They're like, oh, we just walk. And I was like, how far is it? They're like, oh, a couple of kilometers. And it's like 38 degrees outside. Yep. And, like you guys were next to the sugarcane factory. And he'll be like, sometimes, we can't train because there's so much smoke coming on the court. And I'm sitting there thinking, I've been to some pretty cool tennis facilities where some of the kids don't have the same work ethic as these guys. So you guys completely blew me away. And what Darren Wrighton did was honestly incredible. So, when we started working together 2016, we went through the college process. We got video out. We were networking with coaches for you. Why did you decide to pick Alabama A&M? Why was that a good fit for you?
Sure. So, well, one of the first things was for me was I wanted to be an engineer, and I wanted to be an electrical engineer. So I was kind of sorting through colleges. I didn't want to be too specific. I didn't want to, be closed-minded, but that's kind of what I was looking for. So I don't know if you remember, but I almost ended up right down the street at University of Alabama in
That's
Huntsville.
right.
So that's kind of where I was going. And
Yeah.
then the reason I chose Alabama A&M was not only the engineering, we're accredited by ABET, which is really it's top of the line. And then this is a Division I university. And I thought, you know what? I only have 4 years to play in college. Why don't I just aim and try to be, the top division that I can? So that's how I ended up here.
Yeah, I mean, playing college tennis is amazing. And then, the thing about like there's some great Division I schools and some not so great Division I schools, but with your program, like I really liked, that it catered towards what you want to study, but you're also competing against some of the most amazing colleges in the country as well.
Yes.
Now, your tennis ability is a bit different than others because you got a two-handed forehand, right?
So I actually changed that.
No way.
Yeah. So I actually have a one-handed forehand now. It took some work, but now I've got it down.
Nice. When did you decide to change that?
It was crazy. It was like right after you had left, like
No
when
way.
we did the video and everything. We just went out to hit one day, and I think it was Darren. I'm pretty sure it was Darren who was like,
Yeah.
"Hey, Ayana, you want to just try hitting some forehands with just the one hand?" I was like, "Okay, that's fine." And then I just started hitting, and I was like, "Wow, this is crazy. Why haven't I been doing this all these years?"
How hilarious is it that we sent your college video out with you hitting a two-handed forehand and a two-handed backhand, and coaches were still so keen to recruit you and everything, and then you went and back to one-hander. That's funny. Look, you are towards the end of your college career at Alabama A&M, so you've had a lot of experience. Let's talk about the facilities that you get access to as a student athlete. What sort of things do you get like access to in terms of like gyms and like tennis courts? Can you paint a picture for some of the people that haven't been there?
Yeah, for sure. So here on campus, we have 8 tennis courts. So that's where we train the weekdays, usually sometimes on the weekends. We also have 2 gyms. When I started as a freshman, we were working out in the same gym. It was a lot newer, but it was mainly for football. And we practiced earlier than football. So that's how we got to use that gym. So when there were time conflicts, then we started using the wellness center, which is kind of open to the public, but it was still like really good. It's good. We also have access to the track and field where we have a little bit of a hell week. So that's when we run like 5 400-meter sprints, and then coach is like, well, just for a little sprinkle of something, we'll add 10 200-meter sprints, and then we'll be done for the day, guys. So that's kind of what the facilities are over here.
Yep. Awesome. And what is sort of like your daily routine? I know you've got practice like in an hour's time from now, right? So what's your daily routine like this semester?
Sure. For this semester, it's a little bit busy because it's my last semester of college. So I get up, we have temperature checks because of a COVID situation. So I go to temperature checks at 6:30 in the morning, come back. I have an internship this semester as well. So I work from 7 to 9. Then I have class from 9 to 11, take like a half an hour break for lunch. I start up my internship again, and then I practice from 2 to about 4:30. Come home, take a break, and then I just have to start studying again.
Wow. Full on.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so good to hear that, you, as a tennis player, you're always improving, but academically, you're doing what you want. You mentioned you're doing an internship now. What are you going to do like after you graduate in May? Like what sort of things have you got lined up for yourself?
Yeah, so I have been really blessed. Like it's been, like this last year, COVID hit and everything. I had an internship over the summer that didn't work out. And then I just used one of the schools. It's called Handshake. You kind of just put your resume out there and companies kind of hit you back. And I was really lucky that I snagged an internship with this company, and I've been working with them since the fall. So just last Friday, I got a call from my manager saying he's extending an offer of like a full-time after graduation to work with them. I've also got a couple of offers, one from a Fortune 200 company and a Fortune 500 company as an
Wow.
engineer. Yeah, so it is crazy. It's amazing to have so many options, you know, graduating like right out of college, and I have all these options at these great companies. So yeah, it's exciting. I just got to make some decisions.
That's awesome. You know, I was actually talking to a guy that owns a very large company in New York, and he was actually telling me that when he looks to hire people coming out of college, he does like hiring student athletes. The reason why is because, you know, over the last 4 years, they've had to work extremely hard, not just to maintain a certain threshold academically, but for their sport as well. So like their time management, their dedication, their discipline has to be so good. And, you know, those are things that you learn over experience.
Right.
And so it doesn't surprise me that you've got these things. And also every time I follow like your Instagram, you're always on some dean's list or getting some academic honor. So you're definitely making your family proud, and you're definitely making the community you're from very proud as well. Now, there's going to be some people that are going to be watching this in their own time. Some of them are watching it now, I can see. What sort of advice could you give, not just athletes in the Pacific, but all athletes in general?
Sure. I'd say in like the recruiting process, when you haven't quite got your school down yet, be yourself, because the last thing you want to do is to go to a school where like you've pretended to be someone, and then you have to pretend to be that someone for like 4 years. That's not what you want to do. Also think about how this school works for you, because yeah, you want to be your best self, but how does this school help you? Like I chose A&M because we're accredited. Like most of the students here, they go and work for NASA. They go and work for really big companies. And so I thought, you know, I can, if I work with people who are the best, you know, I can be the best version of myself as well. And then I think the last thing I'll say is learn how to communicate, because I think Amrit remembers I was very shy. I didn't like talk to anybody when he first met me. And now it's kind of like I've learned that, you know, in order to help yourself, you need to really speak up. If you need something or if you want to say something, that's your time to, you know, say what you want to say.
I just got to say, to wrap this up, you know, super proud of you, mate. You've worked so hard over the last 4 years. And, you know, that's one thing that Darren Wrighton told me. He said that one thing about you is that you work really, really hard. And I know that you are an amazing role model for a lot of young athletes coming through. You know, every time I work with an athlete, especially from the Pacific, they always mention your name. It always comes up in conversation. You're like a massive celebrity there.
That's crazy.
I'm not even joking. I swear, I promise. So honestly, well done. And I can't wait to catch up with you, hopefully in person soon, once this COVID business ends and we're allowed to travel. And, you know, I look forward to keeping in touch with you. And thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate your time.
No, thank you for this opportunity.
No problem. Thanks, Ayana.
All right. Have a good one.